Hi, I'm Abby Malinowski, and I'm about to book talk The Percy Jackson and the Battle of the Labyrinth. The genre of this book is fantasy and Greek mythology. The lexile of this book was not given. The AR book level is 4.1. The age range is young adult fiction. The AR interest level was middle grade to upper grade. And around how many pages does it have? 361 pages. This book is, the reason why I chose this book is because it's very interesting, also very easy to follow. I love the series, and I always ask myself while I'm reading a book, what if this was me in this book? Like, what if it was you? The theme of this book was never to give up, and to always fight what you believe in. The main conflict of the story was when Percy, Tyson, Annabeth, and Grover, a group of friends, go into the labyrinth. The labyrinth is a gigantic maze that has exits and entrances around the whole U.S. So you really can't find anybody in the labyrinth. It's very hard and it's pitch black. There's no lights down there. So another army, it's called the Kronos Army. This guy named Luke is running it, and they're trying to find the maker of the labyrinth to tell him to bring it down, because there's an entrance, it's Camp Half-Blood, which they are trying to destroy. This book is based off a group of friends who are fighting for what they believe in, as you can see, and there's many other books to this series. There's The Lightning Thief, Sea of Monsters, Titan's Curse, The Battle of the Labyrinth, and The Last Olympian. Those were all in order. Rick Riordan has also written many other series that are very interesting to read. An excerpt from this book is, "And together, the four of us descended into the darkness." This was when they decided to go, when they went into the labyrinth. The reason for this excerpt was because I wanted to explain and show when they were going into the labyrinth. And every so often, they run into trouble. Right now, they just got into the labyrinth and they ran into a problem before, but I'm going to read the second problem. And the second problem, they are end up from New York all the way to California, San Francisco, and this is where they're at. They're trapped in this place right now because a boulder fell on it and they ran into this place. Annabeth said, "I know this place. This is Alcatraz." "You mean that island near San Francisco?" She nodded. "My school took a field trip here. It's like a museum." It didn't seem possible that we could have popped out of the labyrinth on the other side of the country, but Annabeth had been living in San Francisco all year, keeping an eye on Mount Tamaulipas just across the bay. She probably knew what she was talking about. "Freeze," Grover warned, but Tyson kept going. Grover grabbed his arm and pulled him back with all his strength. "Stop, Tyson," he whispered. "Can't you see it?" I looked where he was pointing, and my stomach did a somersault. On the second floor balcony, across the courtyard, was a monster more horrible than anything I've ever seen before. It was sort of like a centaur with a woman's body from the waist up. But inside of a horse's lower body, it had this body of a dragon, at least 20 feet long, black and scaly with enormous claws and a barbed tail. Her legs looked like they were tangled in vines, but then I realized they were sprouting snakes, hundreds of vipers darting around, constantly looking for something to bite. Weirdest, the woman's hair was also made out of snakes like Medusas. Weirdest of all, around her waist, where the woman part met the dragon part, her skin bubbled and morphed, occasionally producing the heads of animals, a vicious wolf, a bear, a lion, as if she was wearing a belt of ever-changing creatures. I got the feeling I was looking at something half-formed, a monster so old it was from the beginning of time, before shapes had been fully defined. "It's her," Tyson whimpered. Tyson's a centaur, by the way. Oh, no, a cyclops. Get down, Grover said. We crouched into the shadows, but the monster wasn't paying any attention. It seemed to be talking to someone inside a cell on the second floor. That's where the sobbing was coming from. The dragon woman said something in her weird, rumbling language. What was she saying? I muttered. What's the language? The tongue of old times, Tyson shivered. But Mother Earth spoke to the Titans and her other children before the gods. You understand it? I asked. Can't you translate? Tyson closed his eyes and began to speak in a horrible, raspy woman's voice. You will work for the master or suffer. Annabeth shuddered. I hate it when he does that. Like all Cyclops, Titan had superhuman hearing and an uncanny ability to mimic voices. It was almost like he entered a trance when he spoke in other voices. I will not serve, Tyson said in a deep, wounded voice. He switched to the monster's voice. Then I shall enjoy your pain, Briareys. Tyson faltered when he said the name. I never heard him break character when he was mimicking somebody, but he let out a strange, strangled gulp. Then he continued in the monster's voice. If you thought your first imprisonment was unbearable, you have yet to feel true torture. Think on this I return. The dragon lady jumped toward the stairwell, vipers hissing around her legs like grass skirts. She spread wings that I had never noticed before. Huge bat wings she kept folded against her dragon back. She leaped off the catwalk and soared across the courtyard. We crouched lower in the shadows. A hot, sulphurous wind blasted my face as the monster flew over. Then she disappeared around the corner. Horrible, Grover said. I've never smelled any monster like that. Cyclops, worst nightmare, Tyson muttered. Her name was Campy. This book is, mostly all the characters are godchild. They're like half-bloods. That's why they call it Camp Half-Blood. It's a camp where all the half-bloods go and stay. And right now, they're in a serious problem because this monster is like very, very scary and like everybody is like afraid of her. So yeah, I would really recommend reading this series. I know a lot of people think it's silly because it's kind of like children's books, but I don't think it is. I mean, I think it's actually very interesting, and it has like our age people in it. So I really recommend reading this. This is the fourth book, The Battle of the Labyrinth. Hope you read the rest of the series. Thank you.